Following the game against Yeovil, you voiced some frustrations about the performance, but having seen it back, what are your reflections? Because it's another point on the board, isn't it?
Yeah, there's always, you can get positives, but we have to keep getting better because we're in a position that we need to get better and we need to win football matches, especially at home. But yes, watching the review, I'll never forget the good things that we do. It was just that it was all a bit crazy towards the end of the game, and then suddenly you're thrust in front of the cameras and got to speak to the Wolves that are all here today. Nice to see you this morning. And of course, you're disappointed that you've drawn the game. But we always review it. Me and Downsy will see it in our homes, and then we'll come in, we'll talk to the boys, we'll say to them what's gone well, what's not gone so well, and they all understand because they know they're as disappointed as me at the end of the game, even though some of them had had good games, and we actually did, especially in the first half this time, put a team under immense pressure, and then we had to take the press. Most of the pressure was after their goal. Once they scored the goal on 70 minutes, then obviously the last few minutes we had Mark come off injured, and we had to see out 5-6 minutes, whatever it was, with 9 men and a couple of free kicks that were going into our box. So in the end, it was what it was. But we had a good 70 minutes and had some good opportunities. And I think our football was, if we'd have won 1-0, I think everybody would have been quite happy about the way we played. Now we've got some that are on form and some that are out of form at the moment, and we've got to try and help them find their form and help them find the spirit and the energy needed to win a football match at this level in our situation.
Obviously, if you score a second goal just before half-time when your team is on top, that obviously could change the whole complexion of the game. Is it too simplistic to say that your team needs to go 2 goals up to feel a little bit more at ease at the moment?
Yeah, that's a natural thing, isn't it? I always say you've got to score 2 goals. Try and score 2 goals in every game, because there's always that chance of somebody hitting a great goal or a deflection or a lucky one or something, or somebody, as I say, pulls something out of the bag. But and then if you are 2-0 up, although it's a dodgy scoreline because people say opposition will then come out at you, absolutely. You'd rather be 2-0 up than 1-0, of course, because the opposition have got to score 3 to beat you. And as the time goes on, and they start thinking, well, we're not going to get 3 now, and you're still 2-0 up with 15 minutes to go, you don't necessarily get a bombardment from the opposition. But when it's only 1, you do. And then they take chances, which they did, because the goal came on, I think, from one of our corners or one of our set plays, and they broke. The lads hit a fantastic ball to the player that scored. I mean, when you see it, it's like top quality pass, putting the lad in, and he took it well. And so, but yeah, we'd much prefer to be 2-0 up, and I think we did have a couple of good chances to go 2-0 up. But it was a fantastic crowd, and it was a great atmosphere up until they scored, and it was a typical local derby that was competitive, and there was some good play in it from our side and from the opposition. So I don't know whether the neutrals would have enjoyed it, let's say.
With these festive double headers though, Gaffer, sitting here halfway through with a point, if you're sat here after the New Year's Day fixture with 4 points though, that changes things entirely, doesn't it?
It does, and Mark Cooper will be saying the same there, Yeovil's manager, to his team. And of course it does, it changes everything. It means that you've gone on a little run of not losing, and that's important for us. But it is, every game's going to be a big game, because you can't leave it to the last 5 games and suddenly go, oh, we're in trouble, we better get going. So every game's very, very important, and this one's just as important for that reason that you just said. And of course, I think at half time we was out of the relegation zone, but it never quite works like that. And now but again we can get out because all the teams that didn't win have got the same teams again down the bottom there. So a win will be fantastic for us and fantastic for them. So it's going to be competitive again.
When you're talking about building a run, it's important to know that, Gaffer, isn't it? It's not just about if you lose a game and that ends the run, isn't it? It's because at the moment we're looking at the last 5 games, 2 wins, 2 draws. If you keep on picking up points and 3 points and putting that together with a few defeats in between that, it can still be a really good run.
Yeah, it can, and every point you get nearer, which we did, the point got us nearer the team that are just outside the relegation. And that's the one you got to catch first. Drag that last one down, and then you get out of it, and then hopefully you move on from there, because we don't like the stigma of being in the bottom 4, and that's why I said we've got to get out of it as soon as possible. But it's 22 games still to go, and the boys are in they're good spirit, let's say, and whenever we have the review and they've seen that, well, actually that weren't too bad, then it builds their confidence. Then this is where the training comes in then. Your training, because then you have to make sure that the sessions are enjoyable but informative towards your philosophy and your tactics. And so, the lads have been in, and, we've been in a couple of storms, but we still managed to get through it.
And finally, Gaffer, in the absence of Asa Hall and Dean Moxey, appointed Mark Holstead as the captain against Yeovil Town. Not always the most usual things of having a goalkeeper as captain. How do you think it gone? He's certainly a vocal character, isn't he?
People respect him for what he's done. He's had a fantastic season. He has. He saved us on. I mean, that's the goalkeeper's job, but he's made some good saves. And everyone likes him. And when you get a captain, it's more of a quiet respect. He can be loud and he can get in the air. And as I say, people have got to respect you for you to have the opportunity to say, "Oi, liven yourself up," or pick up. You listen. Do you know what I mean? They're not just words. And he's had a great season.